Thank you. And I believe the questioner had a follow-up question that maybe Stuart can help with. How would current art space for the senior center be then utilized?
Actually, and there was another question that was related to that, which talked about the Board of Education and where they are in their own facility. We are very, very aware of the fact that we are part of this domino theory on Greenwich Avenue between where the seniors going and where's the Board of Education going and where are we going. And we fully respect that and understand that. We understand that the RTM asked the Commission on Aging and the Board of Ed to study their own needs independently, one ahead of the other. And so we are respectfully waiting for the results of those studies, and you know, that remains to be seen. The question about what happens to the Arts Council space, if should the Arts Council come, which we anticipate, into the Greenwich Center for the Arts, really is tied to that exact same issue, depending on whether the Senior Center chooses to stay where it is and renovate that facility, whether the Board of Ed ends up in that facility because the Senior Center opts elsewhere. Again, those are decisions that are not in our hands, and so we're respectfully waiting for those processes to go forward.
Thank you. Okay, Heidi, I think there's a few you might be able to help out with. Assuming the $1 a year lease, will town programs have to pay any more for the space of the new arts center than they currently spend?
I'm going to answer that question with assuming who they're assuming the current programs. If I understand the question correctly, and please come back to me later if I didn't, I'm assuming that the person was talking about the people who are currently at the Greenwich Arts Council, who are currently under certain contractual obligations with the space at 299. What we've been doing is trying to really work hard meeting those people and getting to know them. We had the opportunity of spending a lot of time at the Greenwich Arts Council last year when we worked on the space utilization calculations and the parking study, and that began the dialogue that we've had. And I have to say it's been very interesting meeting the heads of some of the programming and actually talking to them specifically and saying, you know, what do you need? What would be the point where you would find this new space unaffordable? And really having some very frank discussions of asking them what kind of square footage they have now and showing them that we obviously intend that they will have higher quality space, they'll have new space, they might have a different configuration of space, and this is a part of an ongoing negotiation. But I think our intent, which is the one thing I want to leave you with, is our intent is to work very closely with them. I would say that I sort of consider those people right now under my wing. They have helped me tremendously in the last year. Many of us have spoken to them at length, and I think they are going to be part of our guidepost. And we are very, very sensitive to their needs, and our intention is to really work with them. And that is a long-term learning process. So I would hope it would be very comparable given the slight changes in space that they might take. Granted, some of them might double and some might go in half. So it's what will be seen.
Don't move. Along those same lines, if the break-even point is in the 3rd year of operation, what plans are there in place for years 1 through 3?
That's a very good question, and thank you, whoever gave in the lead-in. We are really in our 4th year. We are currently in this, what I call the planning process, and under the guidance of some of our key members on the board, we have basically verbal commitments from people, I would call them the founders, a group of very dedicated people who believe in the vision, who have committed $25,000 per year for a period of 2 to 3 years to sustain this project and this vision in this development space. And I'm very happy to say that that has really helped us a lot and given us what I call the springboard. Our financial plan is really about, right now, 11 years. We're in our 4th year of those 11. We have another 3 to 4 before we would open the door, and then we start operation, which will be slowly moved in. I think the loss number that we need to sort of cover is $1.2 million. And based upon that, and that's a cumulative number, That's a cumulative number. And I think at this point, what we've seen is we really have had an enormous amount of generous people who have come forward and said, we like this and we're going to help you. And we have gotten that, and that has really made us be able to say, until the doors open where we will have earned income, this is what we're looking, and we will need to raise that. And we feel that is achievable.
We have two more for you. Will you be getting any money from the town besides the $1 a year lease?
No. We have zero in there right now. That's the easy answer. And we have, actually, I would like to extend that. We also have zero money coming from any, what I would call Connecticut cultural or government type special programming for a historic renovation. We have nothing from like a grant we could apply to the state of Connecticut. We have nothing. We have 100% private money in that right now. And that's why we feel very comfortable with this.
Okay, and along these lines, the last one is, will the town be able to use the various meeting rooms for events such as the RTM meetings? Will we have to pay for such an event?
Well, we have to think about it. I have to say, if you go over to my day in the life, I think I have an RTM meeting on that day in one of the rooms. Yes, this is a community building. First, foremost, and even my son would say, can they have a coaches meeting there, Mom? You know what? It's a lecture space. It's a space like this room. We can offer it to everyone. There are venues in that, and there will be times. And I think the toughest job of this facility will be the scheduler. Because we will have facilities, and we're going to say, you know what? The Cole is busy. The Jewel room is busy. The Bruce's room is busy. Are you available? Can we use your facility? What a wonderful opportunity to have one of the district meetings in this space. Why not? And I think we want to be open. Most of us did this project just for exactly that reason. So of course, it is an art center first. We would like to use all the space for creative activity, but that is not to say we're going to have a closed-minded attitude to any of these other crews. I would never do that.
Thank you. A question, yes. A question for Peter Gisolfi, the architect. Please expand upon the concerns as to the condition and obsolescence of the Havemeyer building.
I wrote down a little list of buildings that we worked on to, I guess I used the word transform, to make new things that are older. And we did two projects at Yale, two buildings. One is Rosenfeld Hall. It was built in 1912, and the other is Timothy Dwight College, built in 1935. We did the Whitby Castle in Rye, which is an A.J. Davis building, which was built in 1842. The castle in Tarrytown that was built in 1905. We've been working for 15 years on the University Club at the corner of 54th and 5th, which was built in 1898 by McKim, Eden White. And we recently completed White Hall at Cornell, which is the second oldest building on campus, and completely reconstructed that. And I guess the situation is really similar here. It costs more to rebuild one of these buildings than to build a new building. The building has nothing that would make it conform with current codes, has nothing that conforms to current mechanical systems. So we're talking about windows, roofs, stabilizing the walls, putting in complete new mechanical systems, making the building handicapped accessible, making it conform to the fire codes, which it doesn't, making it all new ventilation, and then putting in all the uses. And when you do all of that, you actually get a new building. You get a building that now we have it, 116 years old, that will certainly last for another 75 or 80 years before somebody has to try and do this again, and probably it will last for 100 years. That's the work that's in front of us. And I think part of the intimidating aspect of it is when people speculated, well, what about just turning it into an office building? It's just off the charts. Nobody would spend the money to refurbish this building in order to make it an office building. The extraordinary opportunity here has to do with the intrinsic compatibility of this particular building with the program that this organization wants to have occupy the building. So I think that's why this comes about. And I know that I and my partner Michael Tribe, who's here, who's worked on many of these buildings with me, we understand what's involved, and at the same time, what it means to give it the new life that you're looking for. So it's a real task. And I know one of the things that was interesting in the Yale project was that they said that they're doing all the residential colleges, and they think of it as part of their cultural heritage. That project, and they understood what they were doing, is they could build new dormitories for less money than rebuilding it. And that's the same situation you have. That's why we have a generous budget, and that's why it will be achieved successfully.